Salut! Welcome to the Youth Development Dialogues with your host, Alfia of Africa. As always, I am super excited to bring you another episode today. Today, we will be looking at the future of education through the lens of a typical Liberian boy. Just how education can transform a person from the grassroots and put them at a level that we can all be proud of. So, I have someone super amazing with me, and I cannot wait for him to introduce himself. Welcome, Samuel. It's really nice to have you here today.
Great. It is a tremendous privilege to be here. And you are talking about super amazing. You are incredible and could go on and on with your portfolio.
I've never had someone in the studio with me since we started this episode. We've always, go to other countries, record and send the episode. Then we do the edits and all of that. So this is the first time I'm having this live conversation with someone. I just want to get into this with you as it relates to education. When it comes to education in Africa, it's a different ball game. It's a whole different chapter with how our education system is, the opportunities that are available. And let me just stop saying Africa, but just come down to Liberia, what we face here in Liberia. Even if you have the opportunity to go to school, how the curriculum is structured and everything you're going to get, the opportunities. I just thought, bring in someone who've been there before from the grassroots, someone who education and opportunities have actually transformed their lives. So we just want you to tell us a little bit, just take us through your journey briefly. How has it been for you from high school to college to where you are currently? And congratulations, you were recently elected as the postgraduate officer for Oxford University.
Thank you.
I think that's amazing.
Thank you. I feel like, my growing up I've only seen education as a pathway and a lamp to be where I am today. Because my dad taught so much about education as a powering tool. I grew up in a very low socioeconomic status, so obviously we had nothing to be able to look for as a path for optimism, rather than seeing education as a visionary tool to grow through. And interestingly, you spoke about our education sector, so I went to local schools, local school in People United Community called Lise Kofi Memorial Academy. And then fortunately, because I was in Carib Baptist Church, I was able to maneuver my way to get on some sort of partial scholarship.
Wait, don't give up the story in a nutshell. When you talk about maneuver your way, so I think that is what we really want to get into.
So I was very involved into Carib Baptist Church as a member of the Youth and Young Adult Department, and then I was also in the Gion Church, engaged in activities in the Wana ministry. So because of that, there was some scholarship that was running through.
Okay.
And then I was like, if there's an opportunity, I would really love to go to Calvary, my church and then my school. And I had the privilege in my eighth year to go to Calvary under that partial scholarship. After eighth year, I think my ninth year, then I went to Ghana, where I was on Buduburam refugee camp for some time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I lived in Buduburam for up to 4 years. One thing I knew is that my affordability from the socioeconomic status could not afford me where I am, but I was extremely optimistic about where I want to see myself, educationally, professionally. And because of that, it elevated me to push beyond limit. I remember when I graduated from high school, my dad could not even afford me to get to, I missed out on the University of Liberia entrance because I could not afford paying for the entrance fees.
Wow.
Very cheap. When I think about it right now, I could literally pay like 100% entrance fees. But that was the scenario, and it was preparing me for how I should look at my own upbringing to, use it as a towering tool to grow up. How I get to where I am currently, I'm studying for my second master in Oxford in comparative international education. And so it's a very, very lucrative topic because I think our education system is not at its best. And I think that there's so many structural changes that need to be done, even curriculum evaluation. We're having a conversation recently on the impact of post-conflict on our educational system. So the difference in it, and it's part of my research, which I'm currently looking at, to work on here in Liberia. Countries that Rwanda, Sierra Leone, and Liberia have an incredible identity when it comes to curriculum, being from post-war country. That means there has to do a lot of revitalization on how our curriculum meet the demands of current, challenges, like broken systems, in primary and secondary education not being at the best to create pragmatic, tools where students can be able to learn
Right.
comparatively with other countries around the world. Then the idea of transitioning our education system to have more, progressive learning tools,
Right.
STEM education, even in the idea of helping, what is more revamping now is the global education system in our education system that Rwanda is using to basically cultivate a very helpful environment. So there's so much we can do about it, but it starts with us. I think my view is education should never be politicized. It
should
must be
not,
driven by policy, pragmatic solutions, and a pure desire to bring change. And I think over time, we, in so many ways, have substantially, politicized education in Liberia. Even from our worst result,
Right.
and we'll have a lot of conversation around it, but in Liberia today, if you pass two tests, you literally consider passing in WAS.
It's just like people are just really comfortable with the bare minimum. But also, I don't like to blame it more on the students because I feel like to pass WISE is not just the 12th grade that you're in. It starts way from maybe junior high.
Yeah.
What you've been learning, what are the available facilities that on campus, even the science laboratory,
Yeah.
the library, what resources are you really
Yeah.
using to prepare yourself? So, I heard one time there was this person telling me about to help 12th graders prepare 2 weeks to go and take WISE to teach them. I'm like,
Yeah, and
it's not
waste of
going to
time.
help. Yeah, unless that person has a solid foundation, they wouldn't do anything, extremely well. It's really nice to talk about these things and just see. But I love the part when you talk about what you study in Oxford, education, and just to come back to your country and, give back to
Yeah.
society or just do your research here and help to solve the problem. Um, Intelligence is nothing without impact.
Of
So that
course.
brings me to my next question to you.
I always say this, if you had we are all building our journey.
Right.
The smallest imagination of how far you've grown up may be motivating, but it's an inspirational story to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And most people, when they just hear the one tour or, Oxford, they
Yeah.
just assume that I'm literally going to work it by my friends who know me knows that maybe my identity may not be closer to some people. I've seen the worst in life.
I know.
And sometimes we share this story to make people believe that there is a powerful way that everyone can meet their ambition.
Exactly.
And I guess the next question you wanted to ask was more about,
Yeah, I want to just get into what you're doing currently and what you aspire to do after graduating from Oxford, because we're not just going to identify the issues. I
Yeah.
know some of us will have vision in our hearts and all of that, and that's why you even went forward for the scholarship at the high school level to just transition forward and all of that. What are you doing currently to help other young people in Liberia, and what do you aspire to do after graduation?
It's a lot. I think part of my journey is I've always been looking out. If I see someone that said, yes, they link, apply for this, my application will be in the system. I remember when I came back from Ghana.
I'm going to laugh because people who apply a lot, they get a lot of no's.
Hey,
That means you've had
too
enough.
much. I've seen a lot. I say, Lord,
I
they
think
start with
you're
a
not
good word.
responsible to it anymore.
I'm immune to rejection, actually, to be real. I've seen like
Okay.
some of the worst rejection that as soon as I open my email, I know it's rejection. Is it? Hey, we saw that you have a lot of qualities, but based on your application,
You know how rejection email starts.
but now you are creating rejection email for people, so you already know.
Okay, that's the hard part of my work. Every year it's hard to send them out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. But I've applied for a lot of things. One thing that I profoundly remember applying for was the Youth Assembly in 2017.
Okay.
I applied for the Impact program, but then I saw like I've done a couple of travel. I served as chairperson in the Liberal National Training University Post. So when I saw the opportunity to apply, they were awarding one young person who have made tremendous impact.
Okay.
And I was like, I always dream of going to the US, and this may be just my opportunity, and I applied for it. I've always thought about mentorship in my educational journey. So I was part of this Small Liberian Scholar program.
Oh, okay. I know about that.
Very incredible program. And we were, I think, maybe 10 or 11 part of that cohort. And we received funding from a generous librarian called Rich Dennis. He provided a first year scholarship for us. And then when we got to the US, we were able to maneuver our way forward. So mentorship was critical because these guys who were with small library, like of Marvin Tawale, James, and all these guys, they profoundly were very supportive.
Yeah, I know Smart Library used to be the compound. Every time I'm walking past, I'm like, a lot of smart
even
people in there.
Barry, even up to now, sometimes I message Barry. I say, "Hey Barry, we're having a program. Can you present on it?" Because they were very helpful in our journey.
Yeah.
So I think in that way, there was always a statement with Smart Library paid for, a very incredible statement that whatever you've done in life, whatever you achieved, like give it out to someone.
Right.
And so when I completed my first master at Oxford, before that, I've always, like, even in the US, I used to come back and organize like symposium, at different areas. But we wanted to formalize it in a way that we can be able to provide extensive opportunities and share out some of those avenues that young people may be interested in. So we established Scholarly Path.
Scholarly Path.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
It's for scholars, so my people.
and Scholarly Path for us, the vision that we have with it is very powerful. And just today we're working on the different plans and the agenda with our graphic director, Daniel.
Okay.
So
that's my best friend.
He's been one of the cornerstone when we decided to reshape Scholarly Path. But the idea of Scholarly Path is to give back forward, because we think,
Right.
in my view, there's so many opportunities that young people miss out.
Right.
In Liberia, a lot of things we are now investing into, a lot of things that proactively increase our journey or better fit the context of where we want to be. And all my education, I'll just do a calculation. I've been educated almost 500,000 that did not come from my
Your pocket.
Literally scholarship.
I think that's a good
In
one.
New York, scholarship. In Oxford, first degree scholarship, and second degree full scholarship as well. So I've known what it takes if you can be able to profoundly be desperate for opportunities in a positive way. And that's what we want to be able to achieve with Scholarly Path. We will be doing a launch for our office space, which will probably be
I'm excited about that.
Very exciting. We'll be sending you an invitation because we're having a fundraising gala.
You talk about fundraising. Do I have funds?
Yeah, we part of what we want to establish this year with our office space. Credit to the Liberian Canadian who built who led his institution.
The Learning Center.
The Learning Center, very powerful. Leo from Canada.
I think so. I've always thought about a youth and student center for Liberia. I think the Learning Center.
That should be a case study for what our government should be interested in. I think we should decentralize it.
Student center
where
all of the statutory organizations can have their offices or learning space. I think that is a good one for me. And that's another person who studied outside of Liberia. He has a powerful story.
Powerful story. So we got an office space in the learning center, and one of the reasons why we decided to get an office space is every time we have the event, we know that a lot of people will go back home to access basic computer, internet, and stuff. What the Learning Center provide is create an augmentation to our work by providing access to participants. So if we host a mentorship program, we'll tell them, go to the Learning Center and pay $20 for a year, and you have free access to the internet and the facility they have there. And you just invest.
I think you should find the Learning Center.
3-month pilot program,
Okay.
where participants who are part of that program for 3 months will be invested only in structuring the application, applying for opportunities, and strengthening the application. And our objective is to be able to target fully funded application, like the MasterCard. In Oxford currently, MasterCard is providing over 70 scholarships fully funded for Africans.
Look at that.
And no Liberian got accepted in MasterCard scholarship last year alone. Over 70 scholarships, and you don't have a single Liberian.
Yeah.
That means
and sometimes it's not the fact that we're not qualified. It's
we're
just
not
that
applying.
You have the story, but you don't know how to tell the story.
Exactly.
So I love the structure, 3 months that just going to prepare the application for it.
Sure. A lot of people don't know how to tell that story, and our work is basically using our experience to help you better present yourself as a competitive candidate.
You've heard it for yourself, right? And this is what we truly wanted to achieve on this episode, right? Just looking at the transformative power of education through the lens of a typical Liberian boy. So it has been really nice having Samuel here today. I want you to take advantage of the opportunities he spoke about, even if you're watching from outside, because I have people across different African countries who follow this dialogue. You can reach out to Samuel. He's accessible. I'm going to put his link, his page link right below when I post this video. Follow Scholarly Path and just get connected, because education is everybody's business. So let's just get final parting statement from Samuel, and then we'll call it a day.
The work we do at Scholarly Path is apolitical.
Okay.
We do this because I have my political views. I respect my political views, but we have like our team member all have their own political views.
Right, I know.
So most people would think that, oh, maybe he's just accepting only people with political views. No, it is a structural mission with an objective to reach out to all Liberians, regardless of your political identity, ethnicity, age, or creed, whatever you're from. You just have to have the desire to want to be part of what we are building together, and that's our mission. We are also open to work with government, non-government entities. We are very much open. If a state-owned enterprise is offering full scholarship, they just want us to be able to help the selected applicant to find school, we'll be very happy to do so, because the objective of what we are building with Scholarly Path is that we want Liberians to find a standard opportunity. The final word I probably will give on my background is you can achieve your wildest imagination, no matter your socioeconomic status or where you're from. It takes determination, it takes genuine ambition, a lot of investment, and once you are structurally tied around that, you will be able to meet everything that you want to. I really want to appreciate you, Ifya, for the work you do with this podcast, getting you voices.
Always known you to be an inspiring young man. So
Thank you.
thank
Really
you
appreciate
for accepting our invitation. Keep following this dialogue. We'll bring you more exciting things in Africa. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.